question in this video is how to have psychic abilities. First thing is to realize that there's no one who is separate from you. Nothing is separate from you. Every frame is infinite, and therefore every person is a part of your frame without realizing it. That's the first clarification we make. The next is that every person never leaves you. It's a similar idea, but it's a separate category as well. So if you look at like movies like Harry Potter 7, when they said, we never left you, right? Because the spirit is always with you. And the science of it is the first category, because there's no separation. Infinity is in every part of infinity itself. The next category, the next reason or way to do it is to be talking directly to someone. If you're speaking directly to someone, their energy is going to you. And so you'll activate that part of your mind, which is their mind, when you're speaking to them. And you have to be receptive to it, sure. And you don't want to call it psychosis or hallucination. You want to be open to the idea that there's an energy now in your mind because they interacted with you that was not there previously. And that way, you can know what they're thinking. There is another way to know what people are thinking. Some people have a skill of hearing a name or hearing about them. So if one person is saying, well, my daughter, she's struggling with this and that, and then the psychic knows exactly what's going on. The way I understand this currently is that the energy and the memory and the yearning for the person to be well goes into the psychic, into the person that is channeling or trying to pick up on how to help the person. And that's how he or she knows what's going on, the situation, what she's feeling, what she's thinking, because it's an energy transference. So the energy transference could be done through talking about someone as well. It's just a harder skill. It's less common. Like the skill that I have is I can know what people are thinking with their intent. Just by you feeling a certain way, I know what you're thinking. And people who are talking about me behind my back, I actually know what they're thinking. And so a lot of times I can prepare in advance what to do based on what their opinions are without actually having to ask them what you think of me. So this is something you develop in stage turquoise and coral. So turquoise, you're open to it. Coral, you develop the skill. So some people may start hearing voices. Clairaudience is a separate category, which means you're picking up on the exact beliefs of different parts of the personality itself. And so it's a conglomeration of ideas to say, I'm clairaudience and therefore I can read minds. Because you don't know which part of the mind you're reading. Is it the ego? Is it the soul? Is it the person? Different parts of the ego? So therefore, that's something to keep in mind. But from my experience, clairaudience, when you hear the exact voice, it's because of a soul and their desire and their will. Okay. Another reason why the energy transfer is sometimes more potent, you can read minds more easily, is because the person has a desire. So if you say, why did they do that? All of a sudden you'll activate that part of the brain that is curious, the curiosity side, and tries to figure it out. And then so their energy that's already in you will be more accessed easily, will be accessed more easily. And that actually happened with me when someone was talking to me. I wonder why they did this and this. And then I heard what they were thinking. And I thought it was my own thoughts. But really it was their thoughts, because it didn't make sense in the context of things for it to be my own thoughts. And so that's how I knew it was actually them and not me who was thinking and or speaking out. I just mumbled a word out that was actually their words. Like, why did I just say that? Why did I just think that? No, it was their words. And there's another case where I was sending a telepathic message to someone, and they responded subconsciously. Their voice responded because their subconscious or different parts of their unconscious heard. And so they spoke without realizing it. So that happens sometimes too. The archetype itself might pick up on it, or the deity, right, that you're speaking to, and it may come out through a person and just start speaking. So these things can happen. This relates to mind reading because the reason why you can read minds is manifold. There's many different aspects to it. And also, the capacity to read minds is also granted sometimes by the underlying consciousness, and that has a whole that has many layers of things. Like, you may actually be permitted by the underlying consciousness because it doesn't see you as a threat. I don't need to interfere with your wiring, or vice versa. I don't need to not interfere with your wiring. Meaning, I'll just allow whatever I want to happen because I know that we're on the same page. Or it could be collective ego. If I tell you guys that turquoise is the stage of psychic capacity, it will be the stage of psychic capacity because I shift that belief system so the egoic framework actually works as such. That's another reason why I often tell people that you could reach stage clear. You can reach tier 4. Because just by saying you can, it actually allows it for the unconscious, for the egoic framework of your own minds. Are there a lot of charlatans? Sometimes there are charlatans. Sometimes they know stuff. Also remember, people have to make money. The only difference between a psychic and a regular person is a psychic knows about everyone's potential to tap into the spiritual, and they're just using it to make money. And sometimes they may exaggerate. Sometimes they exaggerate their own skills, and they're using more intuition than actual skills. So it's a whole slew of reasons why someone might be a trickster, even though they're not a trickster per se. They may be right some of the time and not always. And the clock strikes 12 twice a day charlatan. It's a 50-50, you know. People want to make money, so if they feel they can, they will. But in general, I keep an open mind. Like recently, someone on my channel said they were looking at my profile and they saw in the mirror there's a crazy woman who is trying to plot against you, and now that I'm talking to you, you're gonna be okay. So donate to our Nigerian orphanage and help us out, and text them. And obviously, if it's in Nigeria, it's obviously fake, but it was a coincidence because I just blocked a person who was literally crazy, and I actually knew who the person was for years because I knew, you know, psychic capacity and stuff. But they just kept lying every day that there was this other person. So, okay, I just let it go. But I realized that she's mentally ill, and she's never going to realize it. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to cut her out because this is not healthy. It's been feeding the rage in me that wants to say you're an effing fake, you know. But anyways, you have this charlatan from Nigeria who is clearly picking up on something. So there's one aspect that's possible is the synchronicity. They're saying random stuff, but the underlying consciousness guided them because psychic capacity isn't so simple. So that's one explanation. It's very common because synchronicities always happen. And there's the other aspect that he or she might really be a psychic from Nigeria. And so what I said to them is, if you respond to this message, even though I don't have any money to give you, I will know you're not a fake. And then I'll text them. But they never responded. But I took it as a sign from God or the universe that it's a good thing you block this person. It's going to help you out. And there's a whole thing where I consulted with different means, conduits, to figure out like what's going on with this person. I guess she's mentally ill and this and that. And it just got really out of hand. Because she's, it turns out, based on what I've been figuring out, is that she is teamed up with the angel of death. And when I was, and so therefore I can't trust this specific angel I was consulting. And my friend doesn't believe in that. Nah, what do you mean? And he doesn't want to hear about it. But he told me to block this person a long time ago. Even before I got this sign from the universe that it was a good thing you blocked her. But the board told me not to block her, and he was confused. So that's evidence that I'm right. So the angel we were consulting with was Azrael, which is the angel of death. And what it told me is that you can't trust Azrael and you can't trust her. But it was really difficult. It was crazy. But anyways, in terms of mind reading, this is not mind reading. When you consult boards, what you're doing is you're using things that go beyond time and space, which has nothing to do with minds. And you have to be very careful, because if you're setting up frameworks for how to figure out knowledge, in order to be consistent and accurate, you have to take it seriously. Either you have to go in it full throttle, or you don't go in it at all. And that's why materialists can't enter in this arena, because they want to. If you go in, you have to be a materialist for spirituality. But in terms of psychic capacity, this is way beyond the boards and consultations with the divine through dice and through tarot cards. You're actually hearing people's thoughts by means that are supernatural, and this stuff goes beyond explanation. And also, sometimes you can hear thoughts and you could think they're your own thoughts, and you have to be careful, because you may dismiss it. Doctors will dismiss that as hallucination or some kind of dissociative disorder, personality disorder. So make sure that you've really concretized the science of how you can figure this out, so that no doctor can say you're BSing. And I recently put on my channel how Matthew the Apostle is likely the devil. And it sounds crazy, right? But that's my assertion. Basically, I was going to sleep, and I said to a soul, "I love you." And I said, I was speaking to the soul, and I was telling the person da 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 da, right? And then my eardrum started vibrating, and my body started vibrating, because the negative side doesn't like when I love. And then I hear a voice that says, "Quit it, Matt. Quit the shaking. You're getting..." And then I heard his voice. He said, "But I can't tolerate it." It was a masculine voice to a feminine voice, and the feminine voice said, "I don't care. I don't care." What did she say? "Quit it, Matt. Quit it, Matt." Who's Matt? Is it Matt from Avatar Paradigms, who I blocked for being crazy? Is it Matt, this other guy who was dating this girl who I liked, but she already dumped him? So who could it be? And then it struck me, it could be Matt the Apostle, and that's when I made the video on Matt. And this is a big novelty. But but then all the synchronicity was happening at once, because many different things. And then someone commented on a stage choral video I did, and I think it was a fake Matt identity. I mean, he probably deny it, but I think it was a fake Matt identity. It's probably Matt, or if it's not Matt, it was Matt's ego who got so upset that someone else manifested that ego and tried to argue with me, but he did it in a nice way. So he tried to imply, "Oh, you're not in stage coal, you're in stage turquoise." And then I told him Zen masters love that, because it pays their bills. He's like, you have to do this you have to meditate for years in order to reach stage coral. So that was the conclusion. I think it's the most likely. But there's also the other idea that Matt the Apostle. And when it comes to synchronicity and the wisdom of the universe itself, multiple angles are filled into each moment. So I think it was both. Wisdom is everywhere. And this is why in the stage purple and stage blue religions, they often said wisdom is all around. Or God is wisdom, right? They equate God with wisdom, because the universe is filled with so many things that you can talk about and that are synchronistic, that it makes you mind-boggled at the science that could be taking place on an unconscious level. Okay, so that was my psychic experience as of late, and I heard a voice, and it was compatible with what just took place, so there's a lot going on. And the more you pick up cues on what's happening, the more aware you will be in terms of how this is working, and you'll be able to read minds better as you go along this process. So there is a cultivation that can take place. It isn't just a thing and then, "Oh, I'm a mind reader." No, you definitely want to reach stage turquoise, but after that, you want to cultivate. You want to make sure that you're really understanding the cues and the things that enter into your mind to do it well. Esso Tarot she's definitely up there as a psychic. What she does is she hears random things that she's not thinking about, And she does have ADHD, so that's to play devil's advocate. But at the same time, ADHD is also picking up on multiple things on an esoteric, unconscious sphere level. And so when she hears random stuff, the associations are filled with wisdom. So therefore, you may want to watch her to get a sampling of how psychic capacity begins in stage coral. She's probably in stage teal because she actually does tarot readings, and she understands the complexity of the tarot readings, that it's not just a science, but there's something unique to each reading that have an infinite number of combinations, and as such, the combinations don't necessarily repeat. So that's a stage teal type of thing. And you know, I believe I'm in stage clear, and my ADHD didn't go away. I still get very distracted. But I believe once I get a job and I speak to Ken Wilber and things get arranged, the ADHD will diminish, and you know, my meditation capacity will go up, and I'll probably transfer to higher stages more easily even. And that will be really great. So that's my video on psychic abilities, on reading minds. I hope you enjoyed. Take care and have a great day.